Hi, Caleb with Brownells here, and in today's tech tip, we're going to be installing the M89 Mk10 Heavy Handguard from Sons of Liberty Gunworks. So the variant we're actually doing here, it comes in a multiple different lengths and stuff like that, and then it comes with and without ARCA rail. We're going to be using the one with ARCA rail because I use ARCA accessories, so I like having integrated ARCA rail. Alright, so with that being said, let's kind of go through it here. If you recall in the past, you may be thinking like, I'm pretty sure he did this video before. We did the standard M89 Handguard, which was for the AR-15 platform. This is the M89 Heavy, which is for the larger frame 308 AR platform. So it fits on a number of different uppers and stuff like that. The one we're going to be using here is a Aero Precision, right? So if you know anything about the different AR-10 or AR-308, excuse me, uppers, you'll know that there are two different heights to the actual rail over bore, and this one goes for the taller one. So the Aero Precision uses the what's known as the DPMS high pattern, which most of them nowadays do. So this handguard will fit pretty much any of those high pattern uppers. Alright, so with that being said, let's just kind of jump right into the tools we're going to be using to install this thing. If you notice over here, I'm using the Brownells vise, the super duper brand new. I say brand new, it depends on when you're watching this video. This is a newer Brownells vise and it's friggin' awesome. Alright, now the upper receiver fixture we're using, this is the Device Mark II. This one obviously for larger frame ARs. But you can use your favorite AR upper receiver fixture. It doesn't have to be this one. So just use your favorite tool for that. I know this one is a little bit on the higher end of the price range, so it's not for everybody, and that's okay. All right. So we have that. We're going to be using Fixit sticks for our drivers. I'll show you which ones specifically whenever we get there. And then a torque wrench. You're going to need a torque wrench to torque down your barrel nut. And the actual driver that attaches to the barrel nut is included with the handguard, so you don't have to worry about that. And then, of course, for grease, we're using Brownells Action Lube Plus because we do not put barrel nuts on dry. So there's that. Parts we're using, like I said, Aero Precision upper. So gas block, gas tube, and barrel of your choosing. I'm using a Faxon here, but you choose your own. Go crazy. You don't have to do this one exactly. All right, and yeah. So with that being said, let's just kind of jump right into it. What comes with the handguard is your barrel nut, your drive block barrel nut, and then all the hardware, which you're gonna have these. You're gonna have 3 of these little cup pieces, 3 fasteners, and 3 nuts that have weird shapes and flats cut on them. Those are there for a reason, and I'll explain exactly how those go in. It's super easy. All right. Now, first thing we're going to do is take our barrel. We're going to take a little bit of that Action Lube Plus, and we're going to put just a little bit on the barrel extension. You don't have to use a lot here, just a little bit. And we're going to put that into the upper receiver. So far, it's just like every other build we've done, right? And then take a little bit more of that grease and put it on the front shoulder of that barrel extension, because that's where the torque of the barrel nut is actually pressing against the flat on that barrel extension. That shoulder, I should say. Alright, and then here, if you notice your barrel nut here, one end of it has the castle cuts on it. That's going to be facing towards the muzzle, and then the threaded portion will just slide over the upper receiver, and we're going to tighten this thing down by hand all the way till it stops. Alright, now we are going to set our torque wrench to 60 foot-pounds. And we're going to torque this down to 60 foot-pounds. Alright, so just set the if you're using a torque wrench like me here, just set your adapter or your, I say your adapter, your like actual wrench here, 90 degrees to the torque wrench, okay? And then we're gonna put it, lock it into those slots, and we're gonna tighten it down pretty far. We're not gonna go to full torque just yet, we're just gonna tighten it down. And when it's nice and snug, you feel like you're kind of getting up there in torque range, we're gonna reverse our torque wrench and back off. And this isn't hurting your torque wrench. There's a reason it has that directional throw on it, right? And then we're gonna snug it back up again. All right. And then one more time, we're gonna back off. And this is because the instructions are telling us to do this. The reason they're telling us to do that is because that's just basically marrying up the threads between the barrel nut and the upper receiver just to make sure everything has good contact. That's all you're doing. If you don't do it, it's honestly not the end of the world. Alright, and then now we are going to go all the way to 60 foot-pounds. Alright, 60 foot-pounds. Okay, and then from here you just install your preferred gas block and gas tube. This one is dirty, yours will probably be clean. That's okay. Alright, line it up. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you how to line this up. We have plenty of other videos on how to do that. But just know you do need to make sure it is vertically aligned. All right. So from here, we'll take our handguard. Well, before we do this, let me point something out here. So if you notice, there's a hole in the top of your handguard. That's for an alignment pin, okay? If you're using this upper receiver that I'm using, you're not going to have that in your upper receiver, so you're not going to be able to use that. If you're using a Sons of Liberty upper, then yeah, you'll be able to use that alignment pin. But again, it's not the end of the world if you can't use it. We can still align everything without that pin. Alright, so we'll slide this on all the way. Alright, so at this point, you're going to want to identify the center hole because you're going to put the center screw in first. Alright, so if you notice, there's one angled cut on this this actual nut here, and then there's a flat cut on there. So if you look at the hole that the actual nut goes in, you'll notice that one side of that is flat. So that's going to be the side that your flat goes on, but also you need to make sure that your angled piece goes in. So just make sure the bevel goes in, and then the flat, obviously you won't be able to get it in if the flat's not lined up. Alright, so it's going to go in just like that. Okay, so now you have these three identical cup looking pieces. All you're going to do is take your bolts, drop it in so that the head recesses into that cup there. And then you were going to use a 5/32 driver. And I'm going in from the opposite side, but you're not missing anything, I promise. The other two screws go in the opposite way, so we'll catch you up there. And we're just going to tighten it down, making sure your top rail is aligned while you're doing this. You're going to just keep snugging it up, and you're going to feel a hard stop. Once you hit that hard stop, then that's when you need to stop, or you're gonna break your driver. All right. There's no specific torque setting for those. You just keep going till you'll feel it getting snug, and then it'll stop. Once it stops, that's when you can stop. You don't have to use a thread locker. If you want, you can use Vibratite or something on there, but that's completely optional. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with these other nuts here. So just line up the flat and then make sure that bevel's facing inside and upwards. All right, so I'm just going to drop these in here on the opposite side. This is exactly the same one I did for the center one, so you're not missing it. Again, drop the cups onto the bolts. And now, since you have that center one in, it doesn't matter if you do the front or back first. Or next, I should say. And what's happening is you're tightening this down. If you notice, the barrel nut had like steps and like slight bevels in it in 3 different areas. What's happening is the angled piece of these nuts is being pulled into those wedges on the actual barrel nut itself and just locking everything down nice and tight. Alright, and then the last one. Alright, nice and snug after you hit that hard stop right there. Okay, and that's all there is to it. At this point, all you need to do is install, your preferred muzzle device, and then put your bolt carrier group and charging handle back in, and that's it for the installation. So now you have ARCA on your large frame AR, which is super nice. So with that being said, if you have any questions, comments, experience with this product, feel free to post it down in the comments down below for whatever streaming service you're watching this on. And if you need additional help, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.